Anna Ziade, tell us why you would like another term as mayor of North Lauderdale.
I just would like to continue what I've started. This first term was a difficult one for everyone, actually, these last 4 years. When COVID hit, that put a spin on everything that everyone had begun. So we had to shift all of our intentions into that very quickly and unexpectedly, as everyone knows. And so I haven't had the opportunity to completely run with the things that I wanted to run. Although in this last year, we've have been able to move forward on several projects, but that's not to say we haven't had our difficulties with it. So I just would like to continue what I have started and just really show everyone what I can do in a true first term.
What's happening in North Lauderdale with the millage rate, the property tax rate? Is it going up, going down?
It is not. We have not raised our millage rate, and this will be the 6th year. So yeah, we don't. There's no reason to. We are figuring things out budgetarily wise, and so yeah, there's no reason to.
And what is the millage rate?
It is 7.4.
Okay, that includes everything. That includes any general obligation bond debt. That includes
We have no debt.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
But that includes operating and capital millage both, right?
Correct. Correct.
Okay. Yep. I know I'm firing a lot of numbers questions at you, but I know you
No worries.
You're a hands-on mayor. We've had coffee together.
I am.
Yep. Who's the biggest property taxpayer in North Lauderdale?
Oh, the biggest property
who would
tax
be among?
Most. Well, we just had a property sold, so it would be probably Teleperformance, between Teleperformance and the development group that has the property where the new Walmart is.
Right,
So
okay.
those would be the two.
Tell us where that new Walmart's going up. Whereabouts?
No, it's already there.
Okay.
The developer purchased the property where the original Walmart was, and then they purchased the new property where the new Walmart has been built, along with other smaller plazas alongside of it and out parcels within the property as well.
What's the approximate population of your community?
Well, I want to say it's at least 50,000. Unfortunately, the census came in the middle of COVID, so according to that, we are at 47,000 and some change.
Okay, so you definitely think you're the victim of a census undercount, right?
Absolutely.
What makes you feel that way?
Because as I stated, we had a great program ready to go, and we were already beginning to go out there within the community, and then COVID hit. Nobody was out. We had our staff working from home. We didn't want to put them in any kind of potential danger, and it was just very difficult to get out there and really tell everybody that it was okay to be counted.
Right.
I have a large, diverse community. We have a lot of islanders. I say that lovingly. Central South America, Caribbean, just you name it. We just have that diversity within our city, and I think with that, the ones that are undocumented have that fear. Obviously, look at what's happening recently of the government knowing who they are, where they are, and the like. And so myself and my fellow commissioners were able to get out there and go to those areas, speak their language, and help them understand how the census can actually help them with their residency, with their citizenship, like no other agency can. And so I think it did help, but unfortunately, COVID just put a damper on all of that.
With a large immigrant population, how well understood among some of your newer residents is the relationship between citizens and the government and what the government is there to do and so forth. Is it well understood or not?
I think it's mixed. Obviously they watch the news and or listen to radio, and they hear and see what is happening throughout the world, and some more so locally. And when I say locally, I mean within our state. So there's that fear. But I know I attempt to speak to our community regularly, so that they know what is happening, more so in the school side, because their children are attending school, and we have large ESOL programs. And so I purposely go to the schools to talk to the kids, because the kids are a great source of information for their parents. I was that kid that read to the parents what is happening and the importance. And I need them to be able to see that I'm a child of immigrants. You know, anything is possible. And the communication is right here. We're close enough. We're such a small city that it's not, I don't even consider us a city. We're a community.
Is there, it's a small community. Has there been a lot of talk in North Lauderdale among your constituents? Have you heard a lot of talk about this story about Governor Ron DeSantis chartering a plane, going to Texas, picking up Venezuelan immigrants and so forth?
I haven't had that conversation personally. I obviously watch the news. I'm just not sure what is in the headspace of some of our elected officials. That being said, I'm a little taken aback at his lieutenant governor, who is Hispanic. I'm at a loss. That, and I have to be honest with you. When my family came, they came one by one, literally. And it was through the church that they actually moved out to California, which is where I was born. So it has happened, but it's happened by way of organizations and groups because of the influx of immigrants in one area. And it's really to help them evolve and expand and be within communities that they're familiar with. My parents were surrounded by Hispanic people in a Hispanic community, and so it wasn't just that they were shipped out to California not knowing anyone or anything or understanding, to send people to New England states. I find it hard to believe that there's really that true sense of community in New England. Not to say there's anything wrong with New England area, but those areas that they have a Sedanos, or they have a Broward Meat and Fish, or a Bravo Meat Market, or any kind of a meeting place that Hispanics can gather. I just, and that's just not fair to the immigrants. It's just not. People don't leave their countries because they love their countries. They leave out of desperation, quite frankly.
Right.
And so, that's what people aren't realizing. And when they come to this country, like with all individuals, they're bad apples, no matter where you look, no matter what industry, no matter what ethnicity, no matter what community, they're bad apples, because there just are. But to label them all in one way is just not fair. To ship them out because is not fair. If we're going to help, immigrants, let's do it properly. Let's figure it out. Like I said, they're leaving not because they want to. They know that they have to start a new life here. They want to be productive. They want to be eventual residents and citizens. They want to be able to vote because they know the importance of that, because they've lost it. It was non-existent, or they lost it. And so,
okay. Yep. Okay.
I'm very passionate about it. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Very good. I've got a lot more questions, but I want to I want to respect my colleague Dan Sweeney. He may have questions too. So,
You mentioned in your questionnaire that we asked what your top three your top three issues were, and you mentioned that implementation of projects, that for the first time ever you can put forward projects that are desperately needed without having to wait for funding or require the need to raise our taxes. Are you talking about federal funds there, ARPA funds, that kind of thing?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Definitely ARPA funds.
Can you tell me how much money you're getting from the federal government, what that exactly that's going to? Because you mentioned projects in kind of a general sense, but I'd like to know exactly.
So we are receiving 22 million, which is divided between 2 years. And so projects that we have had down the line, budgeted for years down the line, we're finally able to just get it started. Our pump station, we have horrible flooding in our city, flooding like we've never had before. Well, you know, I've lived here 30 years. I live on a canal. I can tell you firsthand. The difference is that our neighbors down the street from us, which are Tamarack and Coral Springs, have pumps. Our pump is gravitational. So they pump out, and while it would normally pump out, ebb and flow from our area, it doesn't. It literally just comes back in and floods like never before. So we received funding from state funding because of our state rep and us going up to Tallahassee. We received funding, but we received now funding that we can completely fund the project without going to the residents and having to impose an additional assessment or anything like that, and we can get it done sooner rather than later. So within the next 2 years, that pump will be installed and good to go. We have infrastructure that again was budgeted down the line. You know, our city turns 60 next year. We've got infrastructure that needs to be taken care of. We're finally going to take care of that sooner rather than later. And that's not to be said that we're not helping our residents either. We have increased the amount that we have been able to give our residents for minor home repairs. So if they want to put a roof, they want to expand their driveway, if they want to put impact windows, if they want to upgrade their fence. These things are for the first time in a much larger amount that we've been able to give back to our residents.
You're muted, Steve.
Anna, the money for the home repairs you just described, is that a loan program or are those grants or what is that?
It's a combination. Okay. Depending on what they want to do is how it has been set up. And depending on how much they make, again, is how it's been set up. We've given them options, and we actually have outsourced this project as well as our ARPA funds to be looked after, because it is very tedious. It is a lot of forms, a lot of applications, a lot of crossing T's, dotting I's. Right. And so we didn't want to inundate our staff to have to learn something new when there are agencies out there that will do that are best to help with that. And that's exactly what we've done.
Who is the third party who administers?
GCG.
And what does that stand for?
Oh, good question. You know, I have so many acronyms in my life. I am fortunately, I'm at a complete loss on that one.
Is it a Broward County company? Where are they? Where are they located?
Yeah, they are local.
Okay.
And
GCG, okay.
yes. And they also attend our Florida League of Cities, so they help statewide.
Okay.
Hey,
right.
Let me ask real quick. I'm cognizant of the fact that Commissioner Vice Mayor Borgelin is not here to respond. I still wanted to ask you if you could distinguish for voters why you would be the better candidate in a two-person race, particularly since you just mentioned you being a city of immigrants, and he is himself from Haiti. He's an immigrant
Absolutely.
himself. He's part of that community. So why are you the best candidate to be mayor over him?
So I came up with bullet points that are actually going to be on my my cards that I hand out. I connect. I connect with residents. I listen to problems. I understand policy. I respond with action, and I resolve effectively. And so that's what makes me the leader that I am, and the clear choice in the election. Because this is what I do, I'm involved with a lot of boards, committees, and the like, all to bring information and anything that I can to help our city and the residents. And so with that, I learn a lot of things that are out there, whether it's a grant, whether it's a way to do things, a new innovative project, anything like that. And so when residents reach out to me, I always tell them, if I don't know about it, I can't do anything about it. So I meet with them. If there's a problem, I reach out to my city manager and department heads and get it taken care of, whether it's anything from garbage to issues with neighbors that have code violations, that a resident that is going through a hardship, that's elderly, that needs help with mowing their lawn. I mean, I have all of these things that come to me on a very regular basis that I take care of right away. I meet with people. I have that face to face. I have that rapport. And just like I'm talking to you, I talk to them. I am the person that you see.
What's the annual salary of the mayor's position in North Lauderdale?
It's just over 10,000. I mean, it's not a tremendous amount. It really isn't. I think it's like 12,000 maybe.
Okay, I noticed. And I have asked your city clerk, and she's been very cooperative and responsive to requests, but
She's great.
I've asked her politely, unlike some other communities that are holding elections, not all of the relevant documents for candidates are accessible online, or I can't find them. I'm talking about the statement of financial interests by candidates, the oath of candidacy, things like that. So anything you can do to roll that ball along.
Absolutely.
Yeah, whatever the candidates are required to file, in our humble opinion, should be accessible to everyone.
Well, for the first time, we are Joe Scott's office has requested that everything be done online. So what we once would turn into the city clerk and have her date stamp it, time stamp it, and sign off on it no longer exists. So everything is uploaded and done through his office. So I know those are accessible. I'll get with the city clerk and get with the initial. I guess you're talking about the initial documents that we file in order to run.
That's correct. Yeah.
Understood. Okay. Sure.
All of the campaign finance reports are easily found. I appreciate that,
Sure.
but that's and I've got a question about that, about your opponent. Okay. Mr. Borgelin, I wish he were here to answer the questions for himself. You don't need to answer for him, but I do have a question. He loaned his according to campaign finance records, he loaned his campaign $40,000.
He did.
That's a lot of money in a race in a community your size. That's about 4 times the annual salary of mayor. So, how should voters process that information? What does it mean?
I'm not sure what it means. He's still fundraising aside from that. So I'm not sure. I myself did loan as well to get my campaign started, because there is a fee involved. There's a side bond involved. So right. That's what I did. And then I've been fundraising myself. But yeah, I'm not sure. Okay. I'm not sure what that means. My opponent last time around raised and had much more of bigger coffers than I did, and I still managed to win. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. All right. I can't answer for him.
Okay. Has anything significant happened with a reduction or realignment of polling places by the supervisor of election? Are there fewer places to vote in North Lauderdale?
There are, and that primarily has to do with voter turnout. I mean, there's no reason to fund volunteers to be there, even though they're volunteers. They're actually being paid. There's no reason to fund that when you have literally a handful of voters that are going to a precinct. That being said, I did have a conversation with Joe Scott, and I did have him, excuse me, I did have him, I requested, and he, through his own review, did state and has had our city library that's here locally as an early polling site, which is great because our residents don't have to go out of the city. We have a shuttle bus that will literally take you to there now in the city, free of charge. And our cities don't have to go out to other early voting places that have had historically not so a not so good experience for voters.
So your community library in North Lauderdale is an early voting site.
Yes, it is.
Okay. There's a big notice on the city's website announcing to the residents that about that Broward County is having a free water chlorination program. Is that a fairly routine thing, or is that out of the ordinary?
No, it just happens sporadically. You know, it's part of the checks and balances
Okay.
that we have.
All right, good. I know from your biography and financial statements, you're a paralegal. Are you still working as a paralegal?
I am not.
Okay.
Well, I am not job wise, but that doesn't mean that I don't review all the contracts and things that come through the city.
Right, right. And who's your city attorney?
Sam Gorin.
Right. Know Sam Gorin well. How much time would you estimate? And I'm asking for a really honest answer, and I know you give honest answers to everything, but how many hours a week do you put into this job as mayor?
I'm going to say over 40.
Yeah. Your phone rings at 10 o'clock at night? Rings on weekends?
It does.
Give us an
It does.
example. Tell Dan and I, give us it doesn't have to be anything sensational. Give us a slice of life example of the kind of thing that you hear from people about.
When it's late at night, it's usually sound, a party. At night, that's what they are. And so, you know, or something happening in a neighborhood park or something like that, which I immediately, you know, respond by sending it to my city manager and my BSO group.
How are things
And in
working?
some instances, I will call 911 or the non-emergency number because they're frustrated because there have been issues with dispatch. I think that that's been resolved only because I haven't been getting those type of calls as of late. But, you know, with the changing of the law, when you report, especially to code now, you have to identify yourself. Gone are the days of anonymity. So I am that go-between person with regard to code. But with regard to calling BSO, that's still anonymous.
Okay. You're a member of a group called the Northwest Council of Elected Officials, right?
Yes. Yes.
And you meet, how often do you meet?
Monthly.
What do you talk about?
We meet monthly and we change city by city. And it is the Northwest cities. So it's Margate, Coral Springs, Parkland, Sunrise, Lauderdale Lakes, Lauderhill, Tamarack, and ourselves. And we meet monthly just on, you know, there's always a guest speaker. And it's up to the discretion of the host city of who the speaker will be. Traditionally, ours is held in January. So we go over legislative issues that are coming up or pending or anything of the like. Or, you know, it could be police department, fire, FPL has come out. We've had lobbyists come out. We've had Dr. Gerardo from the county come out, talk about flooding and, you know, so all things that affect all of us, you know, it's not any one thing in particular. And as I said, it's up to the host city to decide who the speaker will be.
Okay. And what you said a few minutes ago is that your flooding situation is getting worse or has gotten worse in part because the pump stations in Tamarack and Coral Springs are gravitational?
No,
Oh.
ours are gravitational.
Yours are, okay.
Theirs is motorized. So they pump it out, and unfortunately, our flaps are just pretty much in the open and letting it all in.
I see. Okay. Dan, anything else on your mind?
No, I think I'm good. You know, I mean, these conversations are always fairly brief, and we only had one candidate.
Right. You know, you're the first candidate. You know, we ask that boilerplate question about what are the three biggest concerns in your city, and you listed communication. You put down communication as an important priority.
First and foremost, absolutely.
And why?
Our residents need to know what's going on, and we need to know what's going on. It's a two-way street. You know, we can implement everything that we know we need structurally and, you know, city-wise, to know what the residents need as far as to keep the streets safe and able to drive through. But our residents give us the inner workings. If they live on a canal, if they live in a cul-de-sac where they're having issues with garbage or bulk pickup, or if they're having issues in a development that they have private streets, but they're surrounded by a canal, and so that's an issue, or that they're right outside of a school zone and they're having issues with traffic. Just a number of things.
Okay.
And you know, I always tell them what affects me may not affect you, and vice versa. So again, it goes back to the if I don't know about it, I can't do anything about it.
What day is bulk trash pickup day in North Lauderdale?
It depends on. We have
Wait,
bulk pickup every week for every resident.
Okay.
So depending on you know, we have recycling one of the days and bulk pickup on the other, but we have garbage pickup twice a week. And so depending on where you live and the route is when your recycling or bulk pickup is.
How many full-time code enforcement officers work for the city?
At the moment, we have 5 at the moment.
It's not enough, is it? It's not enough, is it?
I'm sorry?
It's not enough, is it?
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. And more so because, you know, I'm looking into for them a proper software that doesn't take time away from them and or staff that can put in the reports and the information, because that's a major part of it too. And it's unheard of, you know, around the cities surrounding us. It's unheard of that the actual code inspector is who puts in all the information for the reports and all that. There's usually an administrative aide or something like that that does that for them. But in our case, it's not. So we've had to reevaluate, and we have reevaluated our code department. We are going to outsource some of it, and we are hiring additional personnel to help with that reporting side of it.
I did have one quick question. You
Yes,
mentioned under noise complaints and all having to sometimes go to BSO, and I think Steve was going to ask this as a follow-up, but we went on to something else. What's the city's relationship with BSO? When is the contract up, and you know, how has that relationship been going?
Our contract is every 3 years. It's up now, and we have an excellent relationship with BSO.
You're currently going through negotiations with them on a new
Even
contract?
going through negotiations with them, because our staff doesn't look at that. Our staff looks at who they work with and the city. I think that they look at it as that they leave the contract stuff to the ones that are actually negotiating and signing and everything. Whereas boots on the ground, our city district, they're just doing what they're supposed to do. And so we have a great connection with them. They are so involved with our community. It's not even funny. I mean, it's incredible, the programs that they do for our kids, for our residents, and all for those in need. We now have expanded with our dog park. They're involved with that they're now having an annual event that actually gave us a certification that we're now a pet-friendly city. And so, these are the little things that the residents love, that is at no cost to us, but it's such a great thing for our community. We have a vet for the first time in our city. And so, holidays, they're just so giving. And as a result of that, with our residents and with us being there, I know my deputies. I know when they're hired. I go to my well, I shouldn't say with times, but I go to when they come in to sign in, when they have their meeting with their chiefs to see what's going on in the city, what to look out for. I am the first to congratulate when someone has done something, and the first one to let it be known everywhere, social media, on the dais, anything like that. We have deputies that do amazing work that are acknowledged. There was a recent awards that I want to say, I think I was the only public official there, in all honesty. And I was like a proud mom. I was taking pictures. We posted it on social media. I mean, it's just amazing the things that they do. And that's the type of relationship that every city should have with their law enforcement, because then with that, we also bring it to the community that we also have.
I understand. Wow, okay, that's really interesting stuff. You just got your first veterinarian.
Yes.
Are there banks? How many, do you know off the top of your head? Can you tell me about a bank that had what?
One. We have one bank in the city of North Lauderdale. It's a Chase Bank.
I brought that up because I just noticed something that's a bit of an oddity to me. It's not a huge controversy.
Yeah.
Some of the candidates running in this election, their depository is a bank in another city, and they're running in North Lauderdale. You might
Mine
be.
is as well. Mine
Yeah.
is as well.
Yours is where?
Mine's at TD Bank.
In Tamarack. Tamarack,
And,
right?
no, mine's actually the one in Margate, although you can bank wherever. But I opened the account in Margate. And I'm going to tell you why. Because opening a bank account for as a candidate, depending on the bank, is how they open it. It can be a business, it could be a personal, and in some instances they give you such a hard time because they don't know how to open it. That I know historically TD Bank has been very knowledgeable with that, and so opening an account is never a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a lot to do today. We all do too, and we really appreciate you sharing some time with us this morning. You know, the Woody Allen expression that 80% of life is showing up. I mean, we appreciate
Those
you being.
who show up, go up. I mean, there's a bunch of catchphrases that I could throw at you that,
You really know your community, and it comes through loud and clear. So
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Like I said, like I'm speaking to you as who I speak to everybody. It's not, I don't showboat. I don't, I don't have expectations of grandeur. I don't have a plan of my next step of where I'm going to go, any of that. I'm here and now. I'm present. I'm a resident of 30 years. I have roots in my city. And so, I love my city, and I do what I do because of that. So, it's a job. But for me, it's a passion. I'll gladly do it every day, all the time. So.
okay. Thanks, Anna, very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for the time and the opportunity. Have a great
Okay.
day. Stay safe.
Good luck to you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.